Good morning, boys and girls. This is for the math group Unstoppable. Unstoppable. For today's math lesson, you're going to be able to identify geometric shapes. You'll be able to identify missing numbers, and we're going to still develop the concept of multiplication. So first, you turn to page 321. Let's take a look at number one. Number one wants us to write the sums or differences. Here, we are dealing with three-digit numbers, so make sure you take your time trying to decide whether you're adding or subtracting. Let's move on to number two. Number two says color the inside of each shape. Okay, so the square will be orange, all triangles will be blue, the circle will be gray, the hexagon will be black, the rectangle will be purple, and the trapezoid will be red. Now, once you finish that, let's focus on number three. Number three asks us how many cents. Here we have a quarter, a penny, a dime, and a nickel. All right. So let's start off with the bigger coin. A quarter is 25 cents, and then move on to the dime. 25 plus 10 is 35. To make it easier, 35 plus 5 is what? What's 35 plus 5? That is 40. And then we have 40 plus 1, 41. So the total for that amount of change is 41. Let's move on to number four. Number four wants us to set the clock. And time is 6:20. So the hour hand will be on 6. The hour hand will be on 6. And then the minute hand will be on what? What will the minute hand be on if we look for 20? And as we move on to number five has us counting by tens, but we starting off at 115. So what do we have? We have 115 will be the next number counting by tens. 125 and 135. So we have 115, 125, 135. Then you had two more numbers to fill out. Remember, you are counting by tens. Okay? Now let's flip the page over to the next page, 322. There, we're dealing with yellow jackets and then a group of 5 buttons. So let's work on those problems. Okay, here I have my lovely sweatshirts, okay? As you can tell, this is a great design. This is a designer right here. This is real great. So, it asks us to circle each group of 5 buttons. Notice there are 5 buttons on each. So I'm going to use my blue marker to circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's focus on letter A. Letter A asks us how many groups of buttons. How many groups of buttons do we have? Mr. Cole drew too many sweatshirts. Okay, let me erase that one. Okay, perfect. There we go. So ask us how many buttons. So let's count. How many groups? 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 groups. So you write the number 4. Let's go over to B. Number B says how many buttons in each group. So let's count this one. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for B. Okay. So there are 4 groups for A. Then number B, letter B asks us how many buttons in each group. Notice there are 5. Let's focus on C. Number C says, what do we count by to find out how many buttons in all? What do we count by? So let's focus on this one right here. Notice how many buttons are in this group? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you're counting by 5. Okay? Then we go to D. D says how many in all. So you simply counting by 5s for each one. Start here as 5, 10, 15. Then you finish your count out. And then E says write the multiplication fact. Okay, so I'm going to start us out with E. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 groups times how many buttons are in each group? 5. Then you'll write the answer for that one. Then you do the same. Let's focus on number 2. Number 2 says circle each group of 5 pennies. So every 5 pennies you will circle, and then just the way we went through this, letter A to letter E, you do the same thing for the next one. All right, so here's one more page we're working on for today, for Friday. We're going to work on 323 as well. Okay, so we have a busy weekend. So it asks us to write 2 addition facts, write 2 subtraction facts. So let's start. How many dots do we have here? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 plus how many we have over here? There's 6. 7 plus 6 is 13. Then we're doing the opposite, doing the inverse. So 6 plus 7 equals 13. Then we have to write a subtraction fact. So that 13 dots total minus 7 equals how many? 6. Okay, and then for the next one, you do 13 minus the next number we didn't use. Okay, and that will equal 7. Let's move on to number 2. Number 2 says mark the circle That gives half the dots. All right, so notice the first dots. How many you have there? There are 10. What is half of 10? What's half of 10? You should know that's 5. So you count each dot and mark the bubble on the half. Then when you move on to number 3 says write the sums and differences, so make sure you pay attention to those signs. But let's move on to number 4. Number 4 says count by ones from 201 to 220. Then you color the odd numbers yellow. So we have to know, as soon as we fill that chart in, we also have to know our odd numbers, which are 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Knowing that, you'll be able to answer the 3 questions below. The first question says, how many rows of odd numbers? Notice there are 2 rows. There will be 2 rows of odd numbers. So I gave you the answer. But then you have to figure out how many odd numbers in each row. So you have to know your odd numbers, then you're able to count how many odd numbers are in each row. And when you finish that, you're able to figure out how many odd numbers are all. Okay?